It's a new week and we're still on the beat of spiritual maturity. A few videos ago we talked about the aim of spiritual maturity being growth into the image of Christ. We call that being a disciple of Jesus. In fact, at the beginning of 2020 we set a new vision statement for our congregation that was centered around this idea. Newburgh Church of Christ, disciples of Jesus, growing in knowledge, love, and service. Now, if you take a look at the disciplines that we talked about in the previous two videos, you may see how those disciplines call us specifically to knowledge and love of God and one another. Today, I want to talk to you about the spiritual discipline of service. This is the last of the disciplines we'll be discussing in this particular series, but we still have a couple more days of looking at spiritual maturity as a whole. There are two types of service, and we need to distinguish them. They're driven by one of two internal motivations, and these types can often achieve similar external results, which is why it's important for us to distinguish the internal motivations. The first type is self-righteous service. This service is motivated by a desire to boost oneself or to be viewed with greater esteem for one's service. Self-righteous service oftentimes comes with stipulations of indebtedness of the person or group receiving service. Someone serving self-righteously might use the reminder of their previous service to extract favors or place themselves in a position of authority over others. Think of the phrase, "Hey, remember that time I helped you out?" Self-righteous service cherishes that phrase, maybe even weaponizes it. Some of the other markers of self-righteous service are the expectation or anticipation of a reward, maybe a domineering attitude towards the service of the individual being done, regardless of the desire of the person being served, and maybe even a desire to publicize one's own service. Usually what this kind of service does is diminish the one served towards the glorification of the one doing the service. It's destructive and manipulative. This kind of service doesn't operate out of knowledge or love of God or the individuals being served. On the other hand, there is another form of service, the service of humility. This is the service modeled after Jesus. If you look at the number of times Jesus serves individuals and expressly asks them not to tell others about that service, there can be no greater evidence to us of just how greatly Jesus desires for us to do our service in ways that lift up others without giving us some kind of advantage or reward or praise. Service like this is often not programmatic. It's not big or flashy. It's small things. It's listening. It's acknowledging our solidarity with the ones we are serving, our mutual humanity. It protects the reputation of the one being served and doesn't publicize their areas in which they've needed service. I would challenge you to look at the life of Jesus today. Flip through the Gospels and read about his interactions with those in need of healing. If humble service is the norm for our God, shouldn't it be the norm for us as well? I love you, and I pray today that you will find a small, humble act of service to perform. Bless someone without expecting glory for your work, but only growth in your knowledge and love of God and humanity through your service.